let's dive into our first topic tonight, guys, because I think that this is one of the things I love about Doug is he's able to just dissect and look at things from a different perspective, maybe 1,000-foot view, and then really focus in on it and come up with thoughts and theories and viewpoints I haven't seen before. And I kind of want to use this opportunity to pick Doug's brain tonight a little bit about some things that Chris and I have talked about, some things we have maybe hinted at before, but I felt like tonight was a great night to do some of this. So I'm going to just start with Ryan Day. And let's go here tonight. So for the longest time, and on this podcast included, from certain individual below me, he was John Cooper 2.0 because of his inability to win the biggest games and beat the team up north.
Yeah.
And then magic happened. And so I want to ask you this question, Doug. Going into 2025, is Ryan Day John Cooper with a national championship? Or is Ryan Day the guy who could win number 2 and become the greatest quarterback or greatest head coach at Ohio State, not named Woody Hayes? Who is he?
Boy, he's on the precipice of falling either way, probably. Yeah. And I think you could argue, you could spin it the other way and say John Cooper is Ryan Day without the opportunity at redemption. And I'm sure you guys have talked about this. We've talked about this a lot over the years. I'm not sure, and I try not to be too myopic in opinions like this. I'm not sure you could find any college football coach in the modern era who would have been more helped by either the 4-team playoff or especially the 12-team playoff and the chance to have an uber talented team that is absolutely capable of winning a national championship, but was sideswiped, often by Michigan or by Michigan State in 1998. But do you guys think if there had been even a 4-team playoff during the Cooper era, that Coop would have a national title?
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris. Yeah. Chris, you're muted.
Yeah, I think he probably has. He has at least one, but I think he has a shot at 2 for sure.
Right? Like 98, 95, 97, 98, you get 2 out of 3 in there. Is that right?
You get 2 out of 3.
96 was the Rose Bowl team.
Yeah.
That's Ryan Miller. My cousin was on that team. They stubbed their toe against the team up north. They go out. They beat Arizona State in the Rose Bowl January 1 of 97. Mm-hmm. That team's a national championship team, hands down. 98, best roster in college football, hands down. Yep. Nick Saban, Michigan State rolls into town, upsets Ohio State. They go rest of the way, win every game after that. Absolutely. And every one of those players who played for him, who we've talked to, have always said, if we would have played in that era, we would have had a great chance to win a national championship.
So then I don't think you live in your era. You are surrounded by your circumstance. You are judged against your peers in that era. But then when you do this kind of thing over the years, I think it's at least fair to talk about it. So it is not obviously at all to diminish what Ohio State did last year and say, well, if you'd been in the 90s, you wouldn't even had the chance. That's not the point. It's that other people would have greatly appreciated the opportunity in the past. And then it's one of those things, again, that if there are any people left who don't like the 12-team playoff, don't like the expansion of that, it's like, well, then do you not like the national championship that Ohio State won last year? That the idea to me, I think it is healthy for the young men playing the sport. I think is healthy for fans to not have to be perfect. And then I always say, if the thing that you like the most about college football is the misery of losing and the way it is so punitive, and it's like, man, I don't like the expanded playoff. You know what I love? I loved it in 98 when Ohio State had the most talented team in the country and had one bad day and they were dead. That's what I love about college football. That's my favorite thing. It's like, really? The misery, the absolute misery of a bad weekend in every other sport in North America. You can have a bad day and still win a national championship. And in our sport, you can't. We're not allowing it. One bad day, you're dead. That's what you love. If you do, I question it. I know there are some people who think that way. But in the Ryan Day evaluation, that's not the number one thing, right? you do have to take context into consideration. The thing that I brought up a lot last year, Jim Tressel, national championship in year 2.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Brown, national championship in year 2. Urban Meyer, national championship in year 3. Woody Hayes, national championship in year 4. There had never been an Ohio State coach. Ryan Day, national championship in year 6. There had never been an Ohio State football coach who took that long to win a national championship, because Earl Bruce never won one and John Cooper never won one. And so I do think for Ohio State fans, it's like, man, it's year 6, brother. What are we doing here? Chop, chop. That was sort of ingrained in how it worked here, because once you win a national championship, it changes every conversation about that coach, and it changes the day-to-day reality for that coach from then on. Because you might have the same conversations and you might have the same feelings, but you have them while you're wearing a ring. And that, you can never take that off that coach's finger. And so we are in a new era of Ryan Day, and I think every conversation that we have and every way that a fan looks at Ryan Day and every way Ryan Day feels about himself is different. But he's still 1-4 against Michigan. So then, that doesn't. This is the thing that when you try, and again, you guys know this, and I relate to Ryan Day for this reason. And it's not about me, but in many ways, because I'm not from here. I didn't grow up on Ohio State football. I didn't have it in my blood when I arrived here, but I certainly viewed the opportunity to be around Ohio State football as a great privilege and a great opportunity. And now, after 20 years of it, I have some handle on it, not the same as you guys or anybody else who grew up in it. But I also don't think, are you precluded? Are you precluded from being part of Buckeye Nation in any way if you didn't grow up in it? And that, obviously, that's a coaching conversation, but it does make it a little more difficult when Urban grew up in it, when Tress grew up in it, when Earl was around it, when Woody would, and the guy who was the outsider was the guy who went 2-10-1 against Michigan. So of course that's the comparison. And then it's like, are you losing to your rival? And then is it coincidental that the coaches from Ohio have winning records against Michigan and the coaches not from Ohio have losing records against Michigan? Is that coincidence? Or is there something missing in there as it applies to Ryan Day and John Cooper? So, given the opportunity that Coop never had, Ohio State capitalized on that in a tremendous way that we all know those players and coaches deserve tremendous credit for. But now what?
Yeah.
And the thing that I think Ohio State, if you're outside Ohio State, to say that a national championship wipes away 1-4 against Michigan is not true. It certainly affects it, but it's not true. And I think sometimes outsiders or national media people try to equate those two things too much, when honestly, I always say it's two paths. It's two separate conversations. They affect each other, but it doesn't erase Ryan Day's 1-4 record against Michigan because he has a ring on his finger.
Let me ask you this question, Doug. And you alluded to this a little bit since he's won the national championship. And we have, not being as close to the program from a journalistic side of things as you are, we've only can only glean from you guys and what you tell us and making this determination and maybe our own feelings or what we pick up on watching the press conferences or when we were able to go to practice as fans and stand there and watch him coach. Since he won the Natty, is he a different coach than what you saw before? And if so, how do you anticipate that affecting how he goes into the game against the team up north?
Yeah, it's hard because I thought he was different, would be different a little bit after the Michigan loss in 22, when they then went and played Georgia so well. And I thought the Georgia semifinal loss is like the greatest loss in Ohio State history, right? That they took the champs to the wire. They competed in every way. They had how many things go against them from an injury standpoint, to Marv getting knocked out of the game and the player not getting ejected, to the missed field goal at the end, like a million different things, right? You're on third down. You're trying to throw the ball to Xavier Johnson on a key play because Marv's not in the game, right? All those things. Kate Stover's hurt. And I remember like saying in the time that like he had kind of been through the fire with that and like came out the other side, right? That like, okay, like that was that they almost like, even though they didn't win, they lost to Michigan and they found a way, they found something in themselves. And so I could have had this conversation with you guys 2 years ago of like, I think he's changed. I think he's been through the fire, and that 22 Michigan loss is like as bad as it could get. And they bounced back, and they didn't win, but they showed themselves and this fan base something. And then they lost the next 2 games to Michigan. So I was like, I don't know. Has anything changed? I would have said he's different. So now is he different now? Because I think it's different stuff. I'm not sure the thing that wins you a national title is the same thing that wins you the Michigan game. Whether that's internal, whether that's style of play, whether that's the way you talk to your team and get them thinking during the week. I'm not sure how much those things have in common. That yes, it's a big game, and yes, it's a talented team, and yes, it means a lot. But so it has to be better. With a ring on your finger, everything's better. But I'm not 100% sure how much of a direct effect it is. And it's one of those things, I don't like to be in the camp of, well, I'm not going to believe it till I see it. That I'm never going to believe that Ryan Day can beat Michigan again until he beats Michigan again. Because I think then you just miss something. And like you missed it's like, I think there's something happening here. The weirdest outcome, as you guys laid this out here, is that both happen. And he's John Cooper with 4 national championships. That he finishes his career at Ohio State like 3-9 against Michigan with 4 national championships. And we're for the rest of eternity going, isn't it weird that Ryan Day has more national championships than wins against Michigan? Isn't that weird? And we'd be like, yeah, that is weird. But is it
I don't know that I can live in that world, Doug.
Is it good? Is it bad? Well, it's better than 3-9 against Michigan with no national championships, but it's not better than 4 national championships and 7-5 against Michigan, right? I don't know. I don't think it'll be that. Because the thing is, and I looked up a bunch of stuff. I just want to show you guys. This is how much I care about this appearance. I wrote stuff in a college ruled notebook. I'm 51 years old. I got out a pen for the kids out there, for the youth. I used a pen and pieces of paper to write down information. And I have all kinds of stuff about like his record against Michigan and his winning percentage overall. I find this is, I think, the craziest stat. Do you know what Ryan Day's record in Big Ten play is against everyone but Michigan?
Oh, it's almost perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 45-1.
Yeah.
With the loss to Oregon. He's 1-4 against Michigan and 45-1 against the rest of the conference. That's crazy. Now, the first 3 losses were to 2 Michigan teams that reached the semifinals and a national championship team. They're great. And I tried to say leading up to all those games, and I think it's the worst thing, and I think Ohio State fans know this by now, the worst thing Ohio State fans can do is underestimate Michigan. Mm-hmm. Because to just be like, Michigan stinks, it's like, no, they don't. Like, they just don't anymore. And Mason Graham was awesome, and Colston Loveland was awesome, and they lost a lot of talent, but their defense is real. Derek Moore is real. Those linebackers are real. I think Bryce Underwood is going to be real. I'm not sure how real he'll be as a freshman this year. I think their running backs are going to be good. So I hope Ohio State fans have got, because that doesn't serve anybody. Because then if Ohio State wins, it's like, they stink anyway. Then if Ohio State loses, it's like, they lost to a team that stinks. They don't stink. They didn't even stink last year. Their quarterback play was atrocious and held them back. But there was like a good amount of talent on that team. Sure. So I think Ohio State fans are past that. So I have not answered your question, and I've caused both of you guys during this 8-minute rant to go, oh my God, I can't live that way. So I hope that was helpful.
Yeah. Chris, I'll turn the floor over to you, buddy.
Okay. And you know, what's funny, Doug, just so you know, is I don't have it on pen and paper, but I have a 4-monitor setup, and I've got the same type thing with just stats all over the screen and everything right now. And you talked about Ryan Day, and you talked about that 875 winning percentage. You talked about the Big Ten, record, the 2025 national title. He's turned the corner. He's no longer the guy who couldn't win the big game. Still has the problem with that. Where, for you, does that put him in the lexicon of Ohio State coaches? If you look at the guys who have won natties, you look at Hayes, you look at Tressel, you look at Meyer, you look at Meyer, you look at Day, you look at Paul Brown, you look at these guys. Where does Ryan Day rank for you in that list of coaches?
Well, it's one of those things. Ohio State's like, good luck being the head coach at Ohio State, because he has the same number of titles as Urban and Tress, but they were 9-1 and 7-0 against Michigan. So obviously they're ahead of Ryan Day. Woody's Woody. And then, by the way, the other guy with a national title at Ohio State is one of the 5 greatest overall football coaches in the history of the sport. So, to be like, well, I don't know, I think Ryan Day is better than Paul Brown. It's like, is lightning going to strike? Can a person say that in the state of Ohio with a straight face? Like, what would it take for Ryan Day to be better than Paul Brown? But what if he wins 3 or 4 national titles? Like, that's so right now. And then the other thing, guys, is there are so many Ohio State coaches, because before Woody, it's like, no offense to Francis Schmidt and everybody else back in the day. It's like Wes Fessler, right? We understand that. There's not a ton of reason to dig deep into Ohio State football like in the pre-Woody days, because the modern Ohio State was formed through Woody Hayes and the way college football emerged in that era.
Right.
But it's like the only coaches with winning records against Michigan are Francis Schmidt's 4-3, Woody's 16-11-1, Earl Bruce's 5-4, Tress is 9-1, and Urban 7-0. So there's a lot of other people in there who didn't beat Michigan either, right? And I'll say this, I just know this. I know I was texting with Ryan Day after he beat Michigan in 2019 for the first time, and the burden, he knew. I think, for fans who are frustrated with him and it's a results-oriented business and nobody is hired because they're a nice guy, you're hired to win, and everybody accepts that, and you're compensated for that, and you are in service of the fan base. He felt that. He felt that as an outsider, right? He felt that responsibility to go beat the Michigan Wolverines. He carried that with him. And when he did that the first time, there was such a degree of relief. And you guys saw it in the news conference too, but the relief that happened there, right? And that he lived up to something. I think he was proud of his team. I think he was proud of himself. I think he was proud that he did that for the fans. There's no doubt that he understands it. I was always like, I don't know, have Tress come in for the week. I know he's busy being the lieutenant governor now, but I still think there are things that when you are not of it, when you are not raised in it, can you lean on people who were to help you in your program in that week? I think you can. I'm still not sure 100% he's hit on that. But to answer your question, he's the 5th best coach in Ohio State history. Is that okay? Do you want to put a number on it?
Fair, absolutely.
Woody. You guys put Tress or Urban higher? Tress because he was longer and because 02 was a miracle and broke 3 decades?
It's got to be Tress, dude. Got to be.
So I think it's Woody,
Tressel brought it back.
Tressel brought it back, and then Urban saved it when I thought a black cloud was ready to descend on the Ohio State football program, and the way that to go 12-0 in the band season and immediately bring that back. So is that right? And then Paul Brown's just a short timer who went on and did a million different great things. So I think, right, so I think would almost everybody watching and listening to this agree on Woody, Tressel, Meyer, Brown, Day? And then if Wes Fessler's great grandson or daughter is out there and wants to make a case, you guys can have them on next week. But for the meantime, we'll make Ryan Day number 5.
Yeah. But with an opportunity to leapfrog. I mean,
he's the only guy with the opportunity to actually improve his station right now. So
right.
It's one of those things And this is dangerous territory, and I'm not actually doing it. I'm just saying, like, can you imagine if someone did it? Which is a podcasting tip. Don't actually say the thing. Just say, wouldn't it be crazy if someone said this thing and then say the thing and then no one can yell at you? Bear Bryant's Bear Bryant. And then Nick Saban came and did that on top of Bear Bryant. So it's like, well, they have a Bear Bryant statue, and they also have a Nick Saban statue. And I think you could argue they're the two greatest coaches. I mean, I say Saban's the greatest coach in college football history. So I'm not putting that on Ryan Day. But what if 15 years is a Ryan Day statue outside the Woody next to Woody?
Sign me up.
Oh, I'm good with that. I am good with that.
And the thing about it, Doug, is Ryan he's a likable guy. He's not a prick. He's not a dumpster juice, he runs a clean program, a respectable program. The players love him. He's got all of this stuff that we as Ohio State fans love. We just want him to do it, man. We want him to do it so bad. And I know he does too. And that's the thing, man.
And the funny thing is, even the guys who wanted to run him out of town didn't dislike the guy. It's not that they didn't like him. They just didn't like the record. That was it.
Which is right. Which is unfortunately, a couple people made it personal. But like that idea, and that's the thing that I don't think. Which is why I got mad. Like when Kirk Herbstreit took the fan base to task, is we all understand the deal here. And it's not personal. And I've had coaches and others, Hugh Jackson, when I was covering the Browns, like thought I made it personal. I was like, why? I don't even know you. Why do you think it's personal? Like, why does if Kirk Ferentz thinks I made it personal? I don't know you. How could I possibly have something personally against you? I just, on behalf of the fans, don't think you're doing your job very well. Or I think you are putting your personal feelings ahead of what's best for the team, which is what's best for the fan. But then to be like, how dare like fans be upset? You mean like, how dare fans be upset by 4 straight losses to Michigan? What are you talking about? Of course they are. And then questioning whether that coach is equipped to be the person to get this done. Of course that's happening. How are you mad about that? And anybody who made it personal, then like I say, you lose hand, right? It's like you had a point. 4 straight losses to Michigan is a pretty strong point. But then if you attack the guy's family, then you lose everything. So like, don't make it personal. It's about job performance. And I think to question Ryan Day's job performance after the Michigan loss last year was incredibly reasonable. And so then anybody who was like, how dare you like look at records or anything else? It's like, I hate to tell you, like, that's not what it's about. The records, the 45-1 is the 45-1, but the 1-4 is also the 1-4. And one of them's 46 games and the other one's 5 games, and they're equally important. And actually the 5 games is probably more important than the 46. And if you don't understand that, I wasn't born in it. I wasn't raised in it. But it doesn't take long to understand it, man. Like, this is it. You can't call this the greatest rivalry in sport and then be like, it's okay. And actually, if you want to go through, and I've done this at times, if you want to go through like the best rivalries in college football, anybody losing 4 in a row is pretty unusual. And we're a little thrown off because Ohio State kicked Michigan's butt for so long. But like, that was odd. And even like when Auburn's getting the Saban era, Auburn would win like 25% of them. Right? Auburn wasn't losing to Bama 9 straight years. So like 4 straight years is a lot. It really is. That's a reasonable line. Like, of course you're going to lose one and even lose back-to-back. And then you throw the Connor Stallions thing into it, which I think is a fair conversation for sure. But it doesn't eliminate the losses, right? So I just found it. I don't think you can call it the greatest rivalry in sport and then act like fans are crazy for being mad about losing 4 straight.